Let me pull up the comments on here.
Hi everyone.
Hello.
Welcome to Live at Lunch.
Welcome.
My name is Becca and I'm the outreach coordinator, JV outreach coordinator at the WCA.
My name's Olivia. I'm the prevention coordinator at the WCA. Sorry, I'm just trying to pull up the live so I can look at comments right now. 1 second.
Yeah.
It says that
We should be live.
Maybe this is a my phone issue?
Yeah. I'm gonna keep going, I think.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, there we go. Yeah. So this month is Pride Month. We're going to talk about some of those things in a minute. But first we want to say, like many of you, we attended last night's Black Lives Candlelight Vigil to mourn the lives of those lost at the hands of white supremacy and police brutality. There were so many people there. I think there were like 5,000 is the count I've been seeing. There were thousands of people there, and we were so moved by everyone who showed up to unite as a community. It really, I think, showed just another reason why I love Boise and being here. So thank you to Whitney and Jesse who created this space and invited the community to come and mourn together.
Yeah, it was a really great time for reflection. So we want to acknowledge that as straight, white, cisgender women, we cannot understand the experiences of Black, Indigenous people of color or members of the LGBTQIA+ community. But since June is Pride Month, and given the protests and rallies occurring over the past week across the globe, we want to draw your attention to the ways that members of the Black, Indigenous people of color and LGBTQIA+ communities are disproportionately affected by domestic violence and sexual assault.
Yeah, at the WCA, we are striving for a world where everyone can thrive in safe and healthy relationships. And safe and healthy relationships do not include racism, transphobia, homophobia, sexism, classism, ageism, or ableism.
Yeah, so June was designated as Pride Month to commemorate the Stonewall riots, sometimes called the Stonewall Uprisings. That took place in Manhattan in late June of 1969. The demonstrations were in response to an unannounced raid by the police on the Stonewall Inn, which was a social cornerstone for the LGBTQIA+ people in Greenwich Village.
Within 2 years of those demonstrations, gay rights groups were founded in every major American city. This did not start the gay rights movement. People were doing activism before this, but it was a real turning point for gay rights liberation movements. And in 2016, President Obama designated the Stonewall Inn, where that raid occurred, and the surrounding streets and sidewalks as a national monument to honor those events' contribution to gay rights history.
Yeah, so I think a lot of people are familiar with the Pride March that occurs during June, and the first Pride March happened in 1970, and this year Pride celebrates its 50th anniversary. Brenda Howard, known as the Mother of Pride for her work in coordinating the first Pride March, was an American bisexual activist.
Also, a lot of people have been pointing out that early gay rights movements were, kind of championed and headed by Black trans activists. And one of those that you might have been seeing a lot on social media is Marsha P. Johnson. She was a Black drag queen, and she was a gay liberation activist who participated in the Stonewall riots, marched in the first Pride March, and yeah, you might have seen videos of her speaking and doing all that. Her activism is becoming more widely known due to the work of filmmaker, Tourmaline. She is also a Black transgender woman herself. Tourmaline produced a short film about Marsha's life called Happy Birthday, Marsha, which you can watch on Amazon Prime.
Yeah, it's only 14 minutes long. It's a good watch.
Yeah.
So like we mentioned earlier, Black, Indigenous people of color and people who identify as LGBTQIA+ experience domestic violence and sexual assault at rates that are disproportionately high. We have some statistics that we want to share with you all today from the National Coalition Against Domestic Violence. So the first one we have is that LGBTQIA+ Black/African American victims are more likely to experience physical intimate partner violence compared to those who do not identify as Black or African American.
And 43.8% of lesbian women and 61.1% of bisexual women have experienced rape, physical violence, and or stalking by an intimate partner at some point in their lifetime. And that is in comparison to 35% of heterosexual women.
In a study of male same-sex relationships, only 26% of men called the police for assistance after experiencing near-lethal violence.
And by 2012, fewer than 5% of LGBTQIA plus survivors of intimate partner violence sought orders of protection. And just so we make it clear, orders of protection are not related to criminal charges. Criminal charges do not need to be filed in order to receive an order of protection.
Transgender victims are more likely to experience intimate partner violence in public compared to those who do not identify as transgender.
And the last statistic we have is that bisexual victims are more likely to experience sexual violence compared to people who do not identify as bisexual.
Yes. So in closing today, the WCA is open and our services are available to anyone experiencing domestic abuse or sexual assault, inclusive of all races and ethnicities, gender identities, and sexual orientations. If you or someone you know needs help, please call our 24-hour hotline or visit our crisis center. And our hotline number is
208-343-7025, and our crisis center is located at 720 West Washington Street, behind the Capitol building.
Yeah, so thank you all. Happy Pride Month.
Happy Pride Month.
And we will see you next week.
Yeah.